Hello everybody, it's been a while and I can see that my camera as usual is playing tricks on me. So welcome everybody, I am super glad to have you and I hope we're going to have a little bit of fun. So first thing first, I wanted to make it clear that this is Flash stream where I am going to be talking about a Vray release that happened just like a couple of hours ago. So to be honest, I'm going to be improvising a lot, but I also plan to create a Vray reunion video. So my idea is as follows. I'm going to tell you what's new in the Vray. I'm going to try to use those features and we're going to pretty much hear about some of the opinions about the features. The thing is that if you know me, if you know our channel, you know that I am not the biggest fan of Vray, but I did do some research, and after doing some soul searching, I did realize that there are couple of things that I need to understand and pretty much accept due to the fact that at the moment there's plenty of other software and news about the software that I absolutely have to respect. And one of those news is the new version of Vray, and there are plenty of things that I want to talk about the new version of it. But before we get started, also I'd like to let you know that this is one of the videos where we are in cahoots or collaboration with Chaos. So I hope that they're not going to hate me for this because I was planning a little bit different stream again. But I think this is a bigger event than ever. So hello, Mike. Nice to have you, sir, and nice to have you, Saiful. Benjamin, hey, hello. How are you? How you been? Hello from Nigeria. I'm excited about this new features. So am I. Actually, I must say that I'm super excited about everything that Vray has now, and I'm a little bit jealous because you know me, and I'm a big fan of so-called software Corona. And one of those things that I'm absolutely just bonkers about is Gaussian splats. And not only because I am let's say following this technology since it was first released, when it was mentioned. For me, 3D scanning and doing something that will allow capturing the reality around us in such an easy way as with Gaussian splats, that's just marvelous. And I'm going to just tell you straight off the bat, this video that they created was really nicely made, and I am just impressed how they come up with it. But let's just get into it, because the first feature I want to put out there is obviously going to be the great and absolutely amazing. Okay, first of all, where do you get the Vray, right? So you log into your Chaos account, you go to Vray, download it, done. Installation, I don't need to guide you through it. Gaussian splats are just amazing. But how do we use them? What are they? So I would describe them as self-illuminated objects, very similar to shadow catchers, but mostly 3D. So it's a mix between a volume object like gas or fire or water simulation and a 3D model. Where do we get them, how they work, and what are they? So first, we're going to see the Vray tab has a new element. By the way, one thing that I should mention is who am I? I'm Mike and I am a teacher for Vizacademy. Currently, I'm conducting this webinar for you guys in order to promote a beautiful initiative by none other but the Chaos themselves. Hey Anna! Mike, thank you for invitation. Always excited when new version of program appears. I'm really glad that you responded. Also, it was a pleasure to see you on a World Visualization Festival. So I'm super glad. So what are we doing here, and what exactly are we talking about? So hey, that guy. So We're here because Chaos Campus is an initiative created by Chaos themselves, and you should go to this beautiful place where you can exchange knowledge, ask questions, and talk about your portfolio. At the moment, my internet is having a stroke because I'm streaming on two platforms at the same time and also downloading stuff. So we're going to try to load it. Okay. Just believe me that it's awesome, and there's a lot of amazing people. One of them is Theodore, I would say the main host of pretty much everything, but you can actually talk to Chaos developers here and their team directly. So that's something that I absolutely love about them right now, because they're opening up to the public, and that's cool because that creates the community. And the campus is to help you get started, just like our school. So that's amazing. Very good. Happy to see you again. May have to take Vray class soon. Yeah. So one of the reasons why we're talking about Vray today is obviously going to be, well, potential of Vray. Potentially, we're going to be also adding Vray to our curriculum at some point. So Vray tutorials soon, yes. I guess, because I haven't been using Vray for 8 years, and I was like, nah, Vray is wrong, and I am actually looking into the features, and I'm slowly getting convinced. But Gaussian splatter. So what is it? You can see that it's awesome, right? No, not really. It's just a simple container object that we can find in Creation Panel under Vray tab. Then once it's applied, we're going to go to our Vray Gaussian geometry and click on File. I must say that Vray is a little bit too bare bones. It's not as juicy and fun to look at as most of the software that I use, but I'll get by. So I managed to download a couple of PLE files to show you how it works and why it is awesome. And I'm really excited about this because, again, it's a totally new form of scanning, a very easy, affordable one, and not some sort of take a billion of photos and wait 24 hours for a very well, not very good thing. I mean, result. Let's go for scale. In most of the cases, the scales are going to be really off the bat, so don't expect anything good out of them. Then we're going to go to flip, so it looks a little bit better. Most of the software that we will be using will be flipping our Gaussian splats. You can see that the Gaussian splat is pretty much a point cloud, and that is the idea, because it's a scanned data that finally we can start using. And how is it exciting, cool, or what is it good for? Well, mostly it's good for the environment and quick grab of reality. You cannot create 3D model with this level of complexity, and this is a 3D scan. So the idea is that it has a lot of small objects, and you can even zoom into it. I mean, it's still limited due to the fact that the scan itself is only 100 megabytes, so we can see that it's going to have those limitations. Plus, what Gaussian splatter does, it grabs the physical properties of the object, which are stored inside of the object. Look at this reflection on the right side. This is something that I really love about those, because now if I rotate, you can see that the reflection actually shifts, and this is a pre-built reflection, because those are actually, after all, those are scans, but those are very complex scans that will carry the information about reflection at the different angles. So it's ultra powerful, but it's going to have its downsides where it cannot be interacted with in a regular sense. So building light grids around it won't really do much. So you cannot add additional light and say, hey, does it look better now because I've added extra light? No, it's just going to ignore it because that's not a geometry, that's a point cloud. And at the moment, it's not going to be adjustable. The only adjustment we currently have is only the color and intensity. We can also change the moods, but it's not going to have much effect. But the idea is that we can change the intensity depending on our exposure, so you can clearly adjust your object, and the color itself is going to require us to, well, play a little bit dumb. I mean, not dumb, but it's going to... At some point, somebody's going to really figure out an algorithm that's going to split those Gaussian splats into different materials and categories. It's not yet there, but I know that we're going to soon have it because that's a powerful technology. Okay, but again, what is it good for? First of all, props in your scene, they're always going to look nice. They're going to absolutely look amazing. If you're going to be copying them, this is what's going to happen. You have to restart the rendering, but honestly, it's not going to be that bad of an idea to just change our splat. As I said, I downloaded a couple of them to show you a little bit better why it is powerful, or why would we be so excited about it. So this beautiful young lady was downloaded off the internet. Imagine that. We live in such a nice place where we can download people. And at first, it looks like a photo because it literally is, but it's a three-dimensional photo. So you can potentially add your clients' cars, your clients' absolutely 100% accurate furniture models into your renders. And the plus side is that, again, it's not about just being a photo. It's a photo that carries information about a small detail like hair. So that's amazing. And I'm guessing that at some point we're going to see models that are going to be partially based on Gaussian splats, where, let's say, part of the model is going to be just mesh and some is going to be a Gaussian splat, where it is going to look good. So I'm just very excited about this because I know it's going to be awesome. But next thing is forest scans or some area scans. And this is where it really makes sense. Just for rooms, it's going to be fine. It's definitely going to give us a very nice effect. But as I said, most of the scans of this sort will have some distortion, will have some problems, but just being able to position my camera like that and add a box inside of this scene, and the scene by default is going to have its own lighting. Oh, this object doesn't produce light or what? I'm pretty sure that it did produce light last time when I saw it. Regardless, we can create any kind of an environment for our scene, and this is going to be, let's say, the shadow catcher on steroids. So that's really cool. But why would we be needing shadow catchers on steroids? I think the best use case is the one that Chaos actually shown us. Let's go for something around 30,000, so a little bit bigger, and now we're going to use the exact same idea they did. So let's grab our Chaos library, so that's Chaos Cosmos. Let's add the building. I already have this pretty prepared, and we're just going to position the building. So I don't even have any environment, so I might want to add one to have a bit better feel about it. So aerial scans and video scans are going to be awesome with this, and you cannot imagine how many students of mine asked me, hey Mike, how do I add buildings to a photo or something like that? And honestly, with Gaussians, it's just going to be the easiest thing ever. And I'm not even trying to be nice about this. It's just so amazing because I can clearly see the real life use case. Okay, so as I said, I have no environment at the moment, but the thing is that the objects around this building are currently reflected inside of the building. So that's huge. And how can we now build the environment? It's easy. We're just going to go to our Vray environment. Honestly, I don't know how they did it, but menus in Vray feel a little bit faster than those in Corona. Maybe I'm imagining things. Maybe I'm just, hallucinating, but it is really looking like it is faster, at least in the menus. It's just so much more responsive. Okay, so give me that. So now, once we have environment, we're going to do a quick correction. So exposure down, and now you can see where the idea of actually adding additional intensity needs to really shine, because we kind of need to make sure that we can follow up with our brightness intensity for the objects. So let's add actual exposure and just take away some highlights, and now, I would say that being able to add your building into a context just like that seamlessly, it's amazing. And as I said, the reason why they did this video absolutely amazing, and I'm actually just proud of them, is the fact that they created this Gaussian splat on the most ambient with the most ambient environment ever, and it absolutely makes this building just fit. It's amazing. Hey, the chat is really alive. So let's see. Hey Mike, how are you? Very excited for new V-Ray. Just want more info with Gaussian splats for interior, where we have to make it from scratch. No idea how to make to use it in that case. So if you want to make Gaussian splats, there are many services that will allow you to do it. I actually used Polycam, if I recall correctly. You can just record a video, send it, and it's going to automatically just create a splat for you. But there are other channels that will allow you to do that, software that's specifically designed for it. And I would say that you just need to Google it, but it's really simple to do. And the funny thing is that all of those options, it's just all you're going to need to really efficiently work with this magnificent tool. And I'm absolutely mesmerized by it. So let's try to new V-Ray, please. Okay, what's new? Thank you. Was it helpful? Greatly helpful. But where are my... come on. This is not what I was trying to click. 1 second, I'm going to click it again. So that's the what's new section. Let's open it up. Once again. Please. Okay, here we are. And the documentation, for some reason I wasn't able to get there. Okay, so Gaussian splats, very cool, very excited, very, very amazing. So this one is another cool thing that they added, and this is going to be mostly related to V-Ray at the moment. I thought that it's going to be for the whole, let's say, chaos shoot, but I don't know how they're making it, and I was really looking into ability to make your own version of V-Ray Luminar. There was something very similar to Korea that I would assume you're going to also appreciate, but let's just go ahead and restart this. I failed to produce caustics, so I'm just going to tell you that there are new caustics in V-Ray, but we get there when we get there. So Luminar, this is something that again is I wouldn't say groundbreaking, but it's just so good that they thought about this, because again, update now, so bug fixes already. Thank you. So when it comes to any sort of lamps and lights, I love the fact that in Corona, a couple of years ago, it was possible by usage of some plugins to create your own IES files. And the idea was exactly the same as the Luminars, but for some reason, Corona team never picked up on the idea to implement it into their workflow or their software. Although I really think they should have, because it would be amazing to have that ability to have your own IES. What is the reason, or what would we be really gaining out of this? Because obviously those aren't necessarily the most exciting things that we have here. I mean, in a sense that it slightly overcomplicates the idea of simplicity when working with your 3D model. And how does it work? So it's a cage around your object that will be let's say pre-calculated. So it's almost as if baking light in some other engines would work. But in reality, what we're getting is only pre-baked light for the environment. So it renders exactly the same at the same speed as, wait a second, not Corona. Yeah, I need to hide those toolbars. So the idea here is very simple. We have a very nice looking light that renders and denoises faster. So that's it. There's no catch to it. But at the moment, I noticed that this is a Chaos Cosmos browser feature exclusive, so exclusively for the objects that we see here. So why would we be excited about this? Well, let's allow Vray to actually tell us why it is good, because as I said, it's a flash webinar, so I'm just showing you those things that I think are worth it. So enable la 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 da 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 da. Okay, was it helpful? Not at all, because I need this comparison and I have no idea what we're looking at. So is there start presentation, please? But no. So the idea is lamps, calculate faster, less noise, good. Okay, so I guess, my God, there was a GIF here or something. I was hoping to use it, but okay, we're going further. So the idea is, as I said, just a little bit less noise from a light like this. It can be removed. It can be just something that we're going to be taking away from the model, and we can just render it out the normal way. But that object, because it's already pre-calculated, is going to speed up our rendering, so it's going to be a little bit better that way. Can you see that right now, when I deleted the Luminar, it's instantly a little bit lower quality. It's not that bad, but it's definitely taking longer to calculate this, because before I deleted it, it was just faster. I mean, it was a little bit... Come on. You can see that it instantly just calculates into a better quality light. So that's a very cool thing. And as I said, actually Corona had something very similar years ago, but they never picked up on it. And now Vray is really getting ahead. So that's something that I'm going to be absolutely adamant about. I'm absolutely loving this feature, and I would love to know the recipe on how to make those. Hi, thank you for what you do. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Savan. I really appreciate it. Hassan, hey, how are you? How I use Maya, I want to use it well in Blender. So if you want to use Vray in Blender, you're up for something very cool, because Vray is coming to Blender at some point. Does this version of Vray support AMD GPU? And no data. I cannot tell you. I have no information about that. So I'm just going to say, I don't know. But then we've got the firefly removal. And although I really tried, I didn't have... Oh, by the way, the Vray, this firefly removal element doesn't work. I mean, the link is taking you to bucket image sampler. So it's the hyperlink that's broken. I'm going to let the Vray team know about it. But let's just talk about this in the... their own about their own video. I know you can watch the video, why not? So the idea is very simple. The lights render faster, especially in the bucket mode. You're going to see the difference instantly. So less noise, super cool. And this is another thing that a lot of times when working with any rendering engine, you kind of want to have the ability to remove all of those elements that would be annoying otherwise. And just I know that Onra, whenever he's on the forum and anybody says firefly removal, he's like, that's biased, I don't like it. And that's exactly what I think is going to happen. I mean, Corona is not going to have it anytime soon, because Corona is really proudly unbiased render. So it shows you what physically would have happened. So that's one of those things. Then we've got the sun parameters and the environment. So that one we can actually explore together here. So Vray also impressed me with the ease of setting up your environment. It's actually super easy right now. I like the fact that it automatically gets into your environment and you can use it. Only in orthographic you're going to see the changes really, but in perspective it also kind of works well. So the idea is simple. Instead of going into your Corona sky map and apply all the changes there, sorry, Vray sky, we can actually apply some of the changes here, which I think is better, because after all, it's a little bit faster instead of getting into the materials. At the same time, you can filter it through the material with color correction as you normally would. So that's really awesome. So I don't know why they're so fetishizing the idea of going those extra degrees below the horizon. Corona has exactly the same idea. I mean, the same, they're riding the same pony, I guess. So they're putting that feature as a godsend, I would say. But you can just put your sun a little bit lower below the horizon, and it's still going to be producing some additional effect. So it's more physically accurate, because even though the sun is already behind the horizon, up to 12 degrees is going to still produce some effects. So it's actually beautiful. As you can see, the Gaussian splats do not interact with any environment, so womp womp, but it's not bad. It's still not bad. Okay, please shift to Vray, dear sir. I might be actually adding Vray to our curriculum, and maybe we're going to be doing Vray and Corona content at the same time, because I'm really kind of okay with Vray how it is right now. I still hate the fact that you have to have samples for the samples with the samples within the samples with the samples, but I guess it's not as obnoxious as it used to be, so maybe we can live with that. Okay, firefly removal and the sky is something I actually like. So it's just something that having it is okay. Improved Vray sky, perfect. And now the render regions, those are absolutely amazing. And I really mean it, because this is something that absolutely blows my mind. Where can we get scenes like that? The scenes, what type of laptop is best for 3ds Max on low budget? PUBG. So on low budget, just look for something that has at least 16 gigabytes of RAM. You don't need anything that's going to have very beefy, depends on what software you're going to be using, obviously. No beefy GPU, but invest in something that has better processor performance, so it's going to be a little bit smarter. As for the scenes, those are my scenes and I just made them, so that's it. But as for the Gaussian splat, you can just look for them over the internet. There's a lot of them, and you can download from the services that actually produce those, but you can also produce your own. So that'll be quite awesome. So before all of our streams, I try to create the environments to show you everything in a more, let's say, a little bit more engaging way. Although again, I was planning a different topic, so this one is a bit of a flash. So let's just go through it. By the way, the translation from Corona file to a Vray file with the appropriate how does it call this, converter isn't necessarily a problem. I mean, I was expecting a problem. I was thinking that it's going to be a problem, but it's just not. So here you can see that we've got, first of all, we can create multiple regions if we want to, but at this moment I'm just going to go for regions, and now we're just going to delete all of them at once. But what we now have in V-Ray is an ability to hold our left mouse button for a little bit longer and go for polygon render, region render. And again, that's amazing and I love it. I absolutely fell in love with this. I still don't know how to remove them, but I'm just going to say that to you now. Challenge data, no. So how do we remove those? That's one thing that I haven't figured out. So delete, okay, plus and delete. Perfect. So you just select them. Now, this is something that I think every software should have. Up until recently, I was mostly impressed by the regions in Corona because you were able to create as many of those regions as you wanted. But now they went one up and said, hey, how about we make it awesome? And now the V-Ray is taking over. So now you can draw whatever shapes you want and just render them. So as for the materials, it's just that easy. You have the exact selection in your render, so all you need to do is adjust the materials as you please. So let's apply some sort of changes. So which one is it? So I think this one. So V-Ray map, change material map type. Let's go for, there's no such thing as V-Ray V-Ray color correct, so we're just going to use regular color correct, so color correction, keep sub map yes, and now we're just going to play a little bit with the hue. So let's shift it. Am I rendering? No, I wasn't. So let's render start. Now it works. So you can see that it's again awesome, because I got the render region, that's all. It's not something that is going to just change the world as we live in, but this is convenient, and I love how easy it is to use and really amazing. Next feature, okay, wait a second, guys. Okay. I have a problem in 3ds Max and I couldn't find a solution for it. After I import a model from Revit to 3ds Max, the viewport and the render is too bright and all you can see is white. That's weird. What exactly are you doing? Check if your color management isn't reset for some reason. Also, make sure that the materials you're using are set up correctly. For once, make sure to add the override to your object. Hello, sir. Can you tell me a little bit about Cohoom software? Not at the moment. Not at the moment. Maybe some other time, because obviously we're going to be exploring a lot of different software, but not at the moment. This is a V-Ray stream after all. Hi, what you highly recommend and what you prefer in case 2 options for rendering and for animations. Option 1, Corona and V-Ray. Option 2, Unreal Engine for ArcViz. Unreal Engine is just not something I would recommend. Not that I don't like it, it's good, but it takes so much time to set up and it doesn't have that much better quality. The modeling in it is limited, so I would stick to 3ds Max and Corona or V-Ray, and for a faster animation I would actually use Vantage. Vantage versus the Unreal Engine, I would say that Vantage at the moment is slightly behind. That I have to be honest, but the setup is so simple that Unreal Engine cannot compete. So definitely I would go for Vantage because it's just better for me. And one thing that I love is working in one environment, which is really amazing. Hey, Ricardo! Mike, the Revit thing is probably because the important file is overriding the environment color and the ambient color. I came up with a script to automatically clean all this mess Revit files do to 3ds Max before starting to work. Hey, Ricardo! How about you post that link then, or link to your script? By the way, who was it? Hammam. If you have heard that, go to Chaos Cosmos and please DM Ricardo Eloy. He's the guy responsible for CG Architect at the moment and CG Awards. Really amazing guy, to be honest. Ask him since he offered. Okay. I'm looking for it as we speak. Please do. Now, hello Mike, I have been following your tutorials and streams recently and I really appreciate you. Can you summarize the stream so far? Is it not inconvenience because I just joined the stream? So, Gaussian splats are awesome, very easy to use and quite easy to obtain. Use them because they will be the new best thing for a 3D coming soon. Then Vray is better, faster, and a little bit more convenient than I imagined. And now with new features, it's even better. At the moment, we're at feature number 4 at least. So better sky, better environment, better video frame buffers, better rendering, better caustics, but we're getting there. So right now, I'm just being excited about this feature where you can throw those absolutely amazing regions. I know it's the smallest thing ever, but it's so satisfying to be this precise. I mean, like, I love it. I really do. I am yet to figure out how to add additional elements into it because obviously it's going to take me a while to be able to add more dots into my already existing selections. But then again, I can just delete it and quickly draw it because after all, we're here to not be the most precise, but at least not use the resources that we don't need. So that's cool. Okay, I have a problem in 3ds Max when we import my scene 3ds Max and the show dark in scene set gamma to 2.2. So PUBG, it's again the color management. Make sure to save your own defaults as gamma. Right now 3ds Max is kind of forcing everybody into different way of work. It's going to happen over time, but people need to adapt. The industry needs to adapt. Not all ideas that Autodesk forces are good, so we need to see what comes out of it, and once we are satisfied with the result, we might be graciously agreeing to move to their well, on their terms. Please, can you solve it? I mean, I just kind of said that. For Revit, import it first, don't import Revit Lite. Second, press 8 key and use exposure control. Automatic exposure works fine, but it depends on the rendering engine, right? Oh, hey guys, really, go to Chaos Cosmos on Facebook. Sorry. Chaos Campus on Facebook. It's a open group that everybody can find their place in. And right now, Ricardo Eloy has posted the link. I'm not going to be able to post the link in our chat on YouTube, so it's your way of, well, it's your chance to get it. Okay, now the next big thing is something that I think is why was it so hard for everybody else, Photoshop included, to make it work exactly the way that they made it work? I mean, vignetting this in this way, it's exactly what I expected it to be. You cannot imagine how many times I had to waste hours just perfecting the vignette in Corona a little bit because it always goes for the screen. So I had to move my camera to the pan zoom mode and just do the awkward, let's say, sniping for the vignette, because in Corona, if you do the 2D pan zoom mode, you will be able to do something like this with vignette. But if you're going to be just using it on your regular, you're going to get the, well, regular. So what we have here is just so simple, but yet so good. It's just exactly what vignette should be. Thank you. It's just, yes. I cannot imagine, I mean, I cannot believe that it wasn't the standard always, because this is exactly what this feature is for. And that's it. There's just nothing extra. It's just exactly what it is supposed to be. Lovely, lovely addition. So let's see what else we have in our cheat sheet today. So let's see. Okay, now Firefly improved, custom shapes, vignette. Oh, that one. It's another thing that I'm not so excited about. It's just quick way of swapping between different LUTs that don't override anything in your scene. It's just import another look into your scene. It has all of those, let's say, settings to where you can adjust everything about it. So it is a little bit better than a regular LUT because it obviously will give you much higher control level. So is it something that I'm going to be using? Not really. Is it something that I like seeing? Yes, please. I really like how if suddenly I really like how this made it look suddenly, but it's just, let's say, a quick mix-up, I would say. But it is Folder and children. We just killed a couple of children. It sounds a little bit gruesome, so I don't like how it sounds. Okay, so subnodes maybe, sublayers, not children. Okay, virtual tours. So the filters are cool, but they're not going to be something that I'm going to be excited about. I mean, I am, but it is just that we can quickly go through different filters. So yeah, it's good. We can just look at it and without any kind of changes to our scene, just have a quick look through the LUTs. Okay. And now let's continue because I think the next thing is actually quite cool. Virtual tours. So again, when I was at Chaos headquarters, I asked what's the difference in from their perspective between Vray and Corona, and the answer was they're not that different. Both have plenty of amazing features, but the guy that I was talking with, I think his name was Peter, but I don't want to, I don't remember honestly, so sorry for that. I know that Tom was there from Corona. He's also awesome. So he said, he put it very simply. Vray allows you and let's say encourages you to work with bigger teams. And now they have this collaboration tab where you can send your files and literally go into your browser and have the ability, wait a second, I'm just going to log in. So you're going to have an ability to quickly go through reviews and changes with your team. And right now the Chaos Cloud is suddenly becoming useful because now you're going to be able to also create virtual tours in it. So you can just straight off the bat create the virtual tours and connect to them. This is just a preview that I was proving to my students where if you tilt your camera slightly whichever direction, you're never going to have a straight camera and you're always going to have a little bit of a problem within your image. But the idea is that the images are there. They're very easy to work with. You can now send, edit, and add comments. And honestly, that's just cool. I like that. I like that. It doesn't involve, it no longer involves 5 additional services to go through just, hey, do you like this color? Yes. That's it. It doesn't have to be an email. It's your own collaboration cloud. So that I love it. This is something that I'm going to be using a lot, especially that's just this. That's exactly what you need. Wow, now I understand how he was so confident when he was saying that Vray is more tailored towards a team, and I kind of understand that now. So Scatterbrush, another thing that I have nothing prepared for, but we can actually test it live as we speak. So let's just go ahead and do it. So delete all, light included. All we're just going to need to do is create some kind of plane and download a couple of presets. So I think we're going to create this kind of ground. We can now add a bit of turbo smooth on top of it, like 3 levels, and noise it up. By the way, guys, once again, remember to visit Chaos Campus on Facebook if you want to have a grab at that script. I'm downloading it as we speak. So thank you very much, Ricardo. It's a really nice of you. It's really nice of you to share that. By the way, guys, also subscribe to his channel. So that's especially because he creates the CG news and that architectural ArcViz news, really. So that's something that you guys should be interested in. Hi, Mike. You always recommend 16 gigabytes of RAM. How about the no of core with clock speed? So the core, I think that you're talking about the processor, right? Because if you're talking about RAM frequency, that's going to have to be tailored towards the processor. And when I can clearly say that regardless of your processor, 16 gigabytes of RAM is going to be enough to start working, the more the merrier. When it comes to processors, I cannot recommend you one brand, one processor at the moment, because it all will come down to your budget. 16 gigabytes of RAM will be more or less always the same price, regardless of what computer you're taking. But when it comes to your CPU, so the processing speed, it's going to always be down to, well, your budget. So once you figure out your budget, you know that you don't go lower than 16 gigabytes of RAM, and you go as high as you can with your processor or graphics card, depending on what software you're using. So now we're going to just go for our Chaos Cosmos and a couple of presets. Before we get into the presets, I can already tell you that there's one extra super cool feature, and that is different kinds of trees and let's say other foliage. I mean, again, it's just, why wasn't this feature applied or let's say the default from the very start? Just having the autumn version. I assume that we're also going to have a winter version at some point where they will be adding it. Also, right now you can see that all of those are animated in Vantage only. Static elsewhere, but it's also going to be animated in Enscape and other software that Chaos has, but for now it's static elsewhere. It's just going to be active in Vantage, so that's a really cool thing. But let's go to the presets because I am teasing you for so long, guys. So now let's see. No, presets, surfaces, yes please. So dear Chaos team, this is not very exciting. Please add more. Now let's add this. Okay. Hi Mike, I have to make a 10-minute video. Do I use Unreal Engine or Vantage? I use 3ds Max. Sometimes I have some problems with textures when switching to Unreal Engine. Do you recommend Vantage? Is the render software slower than Unreal Engine? So I cannot say that it's slower. It all is going to depend on your scene settings. But let's say compared one-to-one, there is a possibility that Unreal Engine is going to be slightly faster, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's better. It's I would say it's all going to boil down to your settings, because that's going to be a very setting sensitive situation. So I wouldn't say it's worse. And if you have problems with textures, that's why I actually enjoyed working with Vantage, because again, Sergio, what is your current software of choice? I mean, the main software. For me, it's Corona. At the moment, it doesn't have live link with Vantage, so I see it as disadvantage. But now V-Ray has a live link that's, let's say, 100% accurate. And this is something that people do not understand for some reason, and they're not as excited as about it as I am. Everything that is in Chaos or branded by Chaos is going to be interchangeable between the platforms. So if you create something in Corona, you're going to be able to export it to Vray, and it's going to look as good as it is currently looking in your Corona scene. But it's going to take a little bit more time to make it like one-to-one. After all, those are different rendering engines. But you can rest assured that everything that is in the Chaos is going to work and behave almost the same way in all of those programs. And that is what I love the most, because if you create a texture that works for you, or an asset that works for you, you don't need to remake it, retexture it, remodel it just to fit the Nether rendering engine. So that is something that Unreal Engine at the moment is just this. I would say that I'm just not going to use it for that reason, because I don't want to remake everything from scratch if I already have my libraries here. So that's something really cool. Now, hello Armand, nice to have you. AMD Ryzen or Core i series, which is the best for 3ds Max? Again, it's all going to boil down to what exactly you're going to be using and what is your budget. I wouldn't be ever saying that a brand is better. It's not. I would say Corona benchmark, because I use Corona, is the best way of setting that dispute. See submitted results, and now I've got a budget for, let's say, 7950X, and I know that the medium of this processor is going to be around 11 or 13 actually million points. Okay, so let's say I want to compare it to 13900. That's an equivalent from Intel. I'm going to say that Intel currently goes through a bit of a struggle session with the internet, because they allowed a flawed version of 1390 and 14900 processors to go out. So that's where I would say I wouldn't recommend the brand itself, but from what I've heard, they learned their lesson, but they're learning their lesson like every 5 years. So I don't know if I like them any longer. So 9950X, this is what I just recently bought, and this is what you look at. If you see a processor, a computer that's going to be, let's say, 2,000 pounds and it has XYZ processor, you copy that processor, you see what's the benchmark result on it. Once you kind of like it, you see what the megahertz are on the RAM, so you pick the exact best choice. So that's a lie. That's definitely not it. This was a lie. That had to be an error. So something around this is going to be optimal for this processor. Also, this is in the guidelines of the processor, so this is how I would be choosing the processor and not other way around. Even if I would be listening to some kind of YouTube guy, I wouldn't be taking his word for it. I would be checking the benchmarks. That's the only way you can be assured. First, your budget, then the benchmark, nothing else. Because if I'm going to be recommending it and telling you this product is okay, I'm lying to you. The numbers need to be okay. That's all. You're not going to get some sort of extra service from AMD or Intel. They're not going to bring you coffee. They're not going to ring you and say happy birthday. They're not. So it's a processor. You never see a processor. It just is inside of your computer. And yes, they might have the additional overclocking capabilities and very flashy UIs. but who cares? You might use it once, but no. So yeah, let's continue. Hello everyone, love from Kurdistan, love to you too. 3ds Max and Vray is my combo base. So Sergio, I do not understand why did you even ask that question. I would definitely 100% go for Vantage, even if it would be costing me a little bit of time. Not spending time on remaking the scene from scratch is just saving you tons of hours. So no, Sergio, you're staying with Vray and Vantage. When you showed Vantage render, you used Corona without the link. Have you tried with Vray already? No, that's going to be a different video. I don't want to do too much in one setting, because it is all, we're still not to it took 6 minutes to talk about all of the features on their official channel, so I might actually speed up the process. I'm just getting too excited about everything that is here. So going back to our scene, you can see that it's like okay, it's just grass, right? So let's add a bit of exposure so we pretend we cared about the environment. And now in scattering, if I understood that correctly, surface scattering. In surface scattering, we're going to have new options, and those options are going to be pretty close to just adding your own distribution map, but it's going to be thank you very much. I was confused about this for a long time. Glad to hear that, PUBG. But well, if you have any additional questions about hardware or something similar, go ahead and ask. I will gladly help you. Thank you very much for Mike. You're welcome. Mike, do you have any discount code for Chaos subscription? You know, Savan, I might have one. I currently don't have it on me, but I was thinking that maybe we could do something for our subscribers at some point, also for the Cosmos. But to be honest, look at the date. We're like two weeks from the Black Friday, so there's going to be huge discounts at that moment. So Savan, thank you for that suggestion. At the moment, I don't have that link. We do offer our students the ability to buy the student's license, which is a huge discount, but I haven't had a referral link, but maybe it's time to get one. Yeah, let's talk about this. Patterns. Patterns are really simple to use, and it's like this. Those are similar to what you would see in other industry leading software, I would say, but now it's here and you've got those presets. And the funny thing about those maps is that you can see how those maps look like. So potentially you can also understand how to make them. And that's a very powerful thing, because they didn't just say, hey, this is a secret preset. Those are just some sort of maps, some sort of algorithms that will allow you to get the desired effect. And I just wonder if those are tileable or not. So let's see how they behave on a larger scale. So from what I can see, this map is going to pretty much scale with the mapping of your object. So right now you can see that the patches I've got, they're very natural looking, and I like that. But at the same time, they do follow the regular mapping. So those are not three-planar map and not randomized. So those are not algorithms, those are just textures. So, okay, I like that still. So it uses UVW mapping, so yeah, that's definitely it. And you can see that the pattern is basically forming. You can see this exact element here. So okay, I like that. It makes sense. Why not? Count for 100 per square. Okay, that's cool. Next thing, but I think I don't remember. Didn't we talk about it in the previous instance of Corona? Tell me, stop me if I'm wrong. So now we can also select objects and we could edit instances, but editing instances is going to be more than just editing. We can now brush with the instances, and we've got two options. Follow the scattered rules, so we've got pretty much cool additional scatters, and then we can just say whatever we like. So C, A, I'm not, yeah, I didn't really check the spelling. It's chaos. I'm dumb. Now, going back, we can also erase the elements, but in erasing, you can also erase only brushed instances or the elements that are already here. So you can see that I'm removing the elements that I don't like in my scatter, and that's pretty cool. That's, yeah, it's something that should be here for like 5 years already, and it's finally here, and I'm just happy about it because it allows me to be more creative faster. So honestly, fantastic. And let's continue because I'm still excited, so let's go. Chaos Cosmos Asset Variance. So this is what I mentioned. Improve scattering distribution. So that's pretty much what I said. It's just those preset maps, brush scatters. That's very cool. But that profiler, my God, this is something that I just didn't know that I'm missing in my life. Give me a second because I don't remember where it was, but it was in somewhere out here. I'm going to probably have to make a fool of myself and actually look into what they have in their settings as default distribute rendering, tile proxy, and wait a second. Node and resetting proxies, that's not it. GI, that's also not it. Frame buffer, that's also not it. Okay, separate, resume, just delete. I honestly got brain lag. Use pattern, okay, no. Image filter, environment color, no. Okay, I'm a dummy. I've actually forgot where that option is, and now I'm a little bit of ashamed of myself, but I'm just going to pretend that I know exactly where it is. Okay, I'm lost, but I'm still going to tell you about it. You're just going to have to be smarter than I am and find it. So the profiler is something that, as I said, I didn't know that I needed. So okay, settings, profiler, enable profiler. Okay, so I didn't see it. System sequence profiler. Where is it? Settings. Isn't it here? Like, why can't I see it? Guys, can you see the profiler? I'm online and I am at least 10% dumber when I'm online. Okay, let's read through it because that's big for me. Setup settings, system advanced Vray profiler. Okay, so that makes sense. So settings, management, default system, size, triangulation, system, advanced settings. No. Am I just dumb? Oh, basic, advanced. Yeah. Previous render. Okay, profiler. Where's the profiler now? Yes. Oof. Got it. Now, we're going to do a very small render, and you're going to be absolutely amazed what it is. Profiler allows you to get the information about your render as it is and what took what amount of time. And for me, this is just something I didn't know I needed. Allow me to go through it a little bit further. So the workflow, the idea is that once we're done with our profiler or our rendering, you're going to see exactly what took what amount of time during your rendering. So once you turn off the profiler checkbox, change settings according to the preference, blah, 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 render your scene. Output directory, if you want to get the JSON file. Okay, Chrome tracking your blah, 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 blah product. The idea is that once we render everything, we're going going to be able to get to the sequencer, and sequencer will tell us exactly, this was your sequence, this was your render. Then the frame buffer was taking this long to load, blah, blah, blah. And in your render, one material, Vray material 1, took 12% to calculate the whole scene. Then 54% were the Vray blend material. That blend material mostly used resources for the clear coat or for something else, and it's going to be just dissected deeper and deeper and deeper. So for anybody who wants to manage their renders and improve the rendering speed, this is just the best thing ever. And honestly, I do not understand how we lived without it, and this is something, it looks bad. I mean, the UI here just isn't appetizing, but the idea behind it, the information you're getting, like literally, you're going to be informed that this exact material took 31% of your rendering. That's huge. I mean, that's so good, because now you understand what elements of your scene you can improve, hide, delete if you want to optimize your scene. And especially knowing that reflection was taking this much or whatever, that's huge. That's huge. When was the launch of PUBG? We don't ask that questions, especially on streams that are sponsored. Don't. That's not really nice. I'm going to have to hide you, but you're getting a timeout. Think about your words. You're a naughty boy. Thank you very much, Mark. You're welcome. Okay, hi Mike. What program do you recommend for parametric architecture? What do you think about Blender? Blender is fine, but it has the most religious community I've ever seen, and I don't want to let's say any bad words about them. Wow, but I never seen so many annoying people at once. It's like people that, wow, that's I didn't realize that that's going to be such a hard question to answer, because honestly, Blender as software is really good. But people using it are just so insane. I'm not saying everybody, but some people that, you know, just created a donut and went through 2 fidget spinners, even under our videos, will comment, switch to Blender right now. But they have no idea how the industry works, what the industry is, and what 3ds Max, Corona, Vray offer, and they're just religious about it. I mean, I really respect the software and I respect the artists that work there, but the, let's say, bottom line community is awful. I just cannot. I just cannot even. And I really think that there are plenty of amazing, talented artists, but the beginners, once they get a taste of Blender, they're just bonkers, really, and very weird. No, honestly, just to sum it up, because I don't want to, let's say, go on about it for too long. Blender is fine. The software is okay. It's not the most used software in the industry, but a lot of people are currently learning Blender, and at some point there's going to be a lot of companies that will be using Blender. So is it the future? I don't know, but it's definitely going to be more and more popular because of the very juicy price point, 0. At the same time, I would say not a lot of companies, not a lot of brands, not a lot of very, let's say, I would say not a lot of companies are interested in Blender and its development, because typically if you if you have a software that is free, a lot of people will be coming with a freeware mindset. So you're not going to sell anything. Every video that you watch about Blender and there's a plugin that you have to pay for like $5, you're going to hear that YouTuber talking about it for like 5 minutes. how egregious it is that he had to pay those $5 to earn those hundreds of dollars on his work, because it sped up his workload so much, but he paid it, and this is against the Blender blah 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 harumph. Where I do not think if somebody does something really good for you, you should compensate them with something more than just and complaining. So Railgun is very good for parametric design. Yeah, about parametric design, I think the number one would be our all loved software, and that is going to be the how's it called, Rhinoceros. That's the most popular. Okay, so okay, the log is fine. Because I canceled it, I don't think I'm going to be able to access my profiler, so we're going to say that I failed. And there are two things that I'm going to skip, but only mention because I don't have a lot of Vray geometry in my scene anyway, and I also didn't have enough time to understand how caustics work in this software. And I did set up a pool, a light, and everything as I should, but it just didn't show up. So I guess I did something wrong. There are also other small features that I would say are better. The parsing for the scene in GPU mode, but GPU mode, knowing that we've got the amazing, oh my God, it's in Polish now? Why? No, I wanted English. Why would you do that? Okay. I didn't click the Polish language, so where do I change that? I'm so sorry, guys. This was supposed to be English. Why? Thank you, but no. Okay, GPU caustics. So caustics in GPU are faster, so I had no luck creating them, so that's it. We're going to skip that. Surface, perfect, we love that. We've got the profiler, and that's the big thing, and we love it even more. For some reason I couldn't get to the what's new in Vray for the way I did just a minute ago, so I'm going to have to copy the link for the like 5th time, and let's just actually go to their own video, because I guess this is going to be the only way of actually showing you what I'm talking about. So scatter distribution maps, that's cool. Cosmos asset variance, that's really cool, because this should be just from the start, as we're working with software the way we are working with it, so it's just great. Profiler, as I said, it's the amazing tool that I would love to have in Corona. Then we've got the geometry lister, so for Vray, it's just amazing. Again, it just helps you track your assets, so it is something that not only will allow you to grab all the objects, so Gaussian splatters, lights, and whatnot, but it's just better. Also, as you can see, the parsing of a scene with GPU mode is like 10 times better, twice as fast, but it's just better. So it is just Vray is getting huge improvements, and I did exactly what they have done in here. I just did it. It didn't work, so I'm just going to say womp womp. But regardless, I actually like this update. I'm going to think about Vray a little bit warmer now. I'm going to also think about making more content about it soon, because it's not bad. It's just not bad. I didn't use it for 8 years. Now when I got into it, it still has some icky elements in it, but it's getting better. It is good, and I like it. By the way, guys, you know who we are. We're Vizacademy. If you want to join our training, you can now grab a seat for November classes. Right now we are pretty much almost sold out, but if you want to join our next class, we've got a little bit of spots left. It's approximately 4 seats, so if you're interested in joining us and learning the Corona, because, well, during Vray stream, why not invite you to use Corona? Soon we're going to be also probably maybe adding content about Vray, but that's going to be potentially different training even. But at the moment, I must say that, well, if you want to learn with us and if you want to have a little bit of extra knowledge, right now we're getting a little bit into animations. So we're making sure that you will also learn a bit about the animations, how to build them, and how to position your camera. The current group, I promised them that we're going to be getting some animations out in a couple of days, and all of that is potentially going to be postponed due to the fact that you might have seen that I burned my drive, so not all the files survived. But guys, again, it's a public promise. I'm going to record some stuff for you alone, so you're going to still get what I promised. So it's going to be now it's public, so I cannot take back. I wonder, most buildings are BIM models, which most done with Revit, but most ArcViz artists model 3ds Max in 3ds Max. How about coloration? I don't understand this workflow for those artists. So the problem is that if you work with BIM, it's precise, but from architectural standpoint. But if you're working with 3ds Max, it's no longer precise because that model is very primitive. And depending on what your expectations are, for me, my expectations are photorealism, and I cannot go lower. So in many cases, if you're going to be talking about for example, Revit Enscape, it's going to be good enough, looking good, and the BIM files are very nice to look at. But if you're going to be talking about Vray, Corona, or even Vantage, in that case, you're going to run into a wall because the chamfers are missing, you're not getting enough smoothness, the geometry is very low quality, the trees lack detail, so all of that is going to be lacking. So that is why we typically take the model from Revit. You can use it, but there's no way you can just use it off the bat. Some parts you can, but the details still need to come from a software that actually, let's say, thrives in details. Hola from Panama City, Panama Vizacademy for you. How many polygons is considered to be a high poly count at minimum? Prefer Vray over Corona for rendering to use with 3ds Max. So Jose, it's really simple. Depending on your computer, it's going to be either 4 to 5 millions or 8 to 20. So if you're going to have 16 gigabytes of RAM, 4 to 6 million polygons is a lot, depending obviously on the amount of instances, amount of modifiers in your scene, and other systems used. That also includes distance mapping or, for example, scatters. But if it's up to more RAM than that, well, at that point you can go a little bit further and actually go for even the 1820 mark, but anything below is just better. So I always recommend my students to optimize their scenes as much as possible, because just because you've got a very beefy computer doesn't mean you have to use the whole computer at once. Because if you optimize your scene, you're going to still work faster, more efficiently, and it's going to be easier to render and edit your scene. Hey PUBG, welcome back. Did you learn your lesson? No, honestly, I hope that you understand me. What are your thoughts on Rhino? It seems like all students in the architecture are learning Rhino right now. Benjamin, I think that Rhino is fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's a software in between the, I would say, it's in between the 3ds Max and BIM files, because Rhino allows you to really access, for example, Grasshopper, and you're going to use amazing scripts to get through the day. But it's something that you just have to be aware that in order to achieve greatness in Rhino, you have to be a bit of a mathematician. And I'm not saying it's hard, wrong, or impossible. I'm just saying that it is going to take a bit of time to learn. Theodore from the Chaos Campus, he used to work with Rhino, and he can tell you a lot more about it. So again, I recommend you to go to our Chaos Campus, because this whole stream is thanks to the courtesy of Chaos. Thank you very much for having me as one of the hosts, and I am the Vizacademy tips and tricks, so it's pretty much it. Once again, before I go, please guys, make sure to like and subscribe this video. Make sure to also join our Chaos Campus. If the stream is over, leaving a comment underneath the video helps us greatly. Once I figure out all of the features, I might actually create a quick recap of all the features in Vray that's going to be a bit faster, easier to understand, and more digestible. But again, this is it for today. Thank you very much for your attention. We're going to see each other in approximately a week. And speaking of Rhino, there's a quite large possibility that the next webinar is going to be hosted by our teacher, another teacher that's going to be Christian, and well, he is good at Rhino. I'm not going to pretend that I am a master of it, so it's going to be a good idea to give somebody else the time of the day. So, do you teach FStorm? What can you say about it? Is it good or and other render engines? So, if I recall correctly, FStorm is developed by one brilliant guy, and maybe the team is a little bit bigger now. And to be honest, it is amazing, and there's nothing wrong with it. I just didn't seem to like it due to the fact that one-to-one Corona to FStorm, I think it renders at the same pace. If you go for the same level of quality, you're going to get almost the same results. And as for it as an engine, there's nothing wrong with it. It's good. So I would say that I'm still going to remain with Corona Vray Advantage, because I already work in this environment, and most of the models and assets out there in the internet are built towards those. But I am not going to say a bad word about software that is worth your time. So this is it. Once again, thank you for your attention. It was a blast. I really appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe, and see you next time. Bye-bye.